Culture Cast. This is Un from Korean Culture Center.
I'm Abbey. I am a student at the Korean Culture Center. I've been interested in Korean media for about 10 years, and I came here.
Yeah, she did some journalism, so she has more insight on this cultural issue, so I brought her in. Thank you for being here, Abbey. Why is Un talking about culture? Maybe you might be interested in that, listening into that a little bit. Un studied political science in college and East Asian studies at the same time. So I'm very interested in the interactions between the culture and political phenomena of the country. Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was born in Korea and I got educated here, half there and half here. So I think I'll be able to offer you a kind of
interesting
bent.
Yeah. Kind of our goal with this section is to kind of get into a lot of Korean culture factors that don't always get explained in international media.
Yes, you put it perfectly.
Yeah, there's a lot that can be explained better. And so we thought if we combine our skills, then we can be able to do that.
Yes, I'm very excited to have you here, actually. Yay! So what is our first episode about, actually?
Okay, so this week we are talking about, there's this drama that is on Netflix. So right now we're going to focus a lot on dramas that are on Netflix and Hulu because they're easily accessible. There's one that's really popular that's just come out called Romance is a Bonus Book.
It's called 로맨스는 별책부록 in Korean.
And it's interesting because it's something that a lot of American watchers might not fully understand. It deals with an older woman who she had her career and she left the workplace to raise a family. And then she got divorced and now she is stuck again with no income. And how does she get back into the workforce?
Yes, actually the cast is very interesting because Lee Na-young actually came back with, I think she was similar to Kang Dan-hee's situation, which is her character. I mean, it's not like she didn't work for how many years after the marriage, but she just came back to this drama after being married to Wonbin, right? Mm-hmm. We actually want to know where Wonbin is now. Actually, I think, you know, she was able to, you know, do a good job acting this character because she was in a similar situation. Mm-hmm. Not that, you know, not so same, but...
Yeah, but she can relate to it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to explain the story for anyone who hasn't watched the drama yet, basically our main character, her name is Kang Dan-hee. So she was previously a popular copywriter for advertisements. She left her job in order to get married and have a family. And then the problem is that, what was it, 7 years, I think?
Yeah, 7-year gap in her career.
So she was married for 7 years and then got divorced. And so now she is stuck, can't find a job.
Yes.
Has trouble finding work.
I mean, you know, it tells a lot about the Korean culture, current situation where, like, married women cannot find their job. Well, they used to be a very competent workforce, but it's actually very interesting that Kang Dan-hee, the copyrights that she mentions during her interviews with other company were actually very famous copies of Korean commercials too.
Okay, so they were real commercials.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I thought that was like the fast thing.
Yeah,
the fast swimmer thing.
Yeah,
so cute.
The 5G stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to it, I think it's very interesting how this drama in particular deals with married women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting, there's particular points in the first couple episodes where she's having an interview and they ask, why did you know, there's this gap in your resume. Did you just laze around for 7 years? Oh, you were just married and you were just laying around at home. Which anyone who has had a mom, who has spent time with their mom, knows that that's not true. That's not how anything works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, it was very interesting for me to listen to her, you know, how she reacts to that question. She's like, I've never really played. I actually worked all that 7 years. Mm-hmm. Although you might not treat it as a work experience, it's still work. And I think now, given the feminism vibe that's going around in Korea, a lot of daughters are saying the same thing. I mean, I'm on Twitter, so I'm you know, reading all these threads about like how it's frustrating to think about this mother labor force not being treated as valuables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, actually, because right now, just based on the numbers, right now, only 52% of women in Korea are working versus 75% of men, which is a huge gap. It's crazy. But at the same time, women have surpassed, there are more women with university entrances and university degrees than men, but they still can't get the work.
Also, there is something with the pay gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right
yeah,
now.
the current pay gap is women are paid 36.6% less than men, which is absolutely insane. America has our own issues with the pay gap. We have issues even within the races in America of white women are paid less, and then when you go to Black women, to Native American women, to Hispanic women, it just gets deeper and deeper. But I don't think any of them are as deep as 36%. That's a lot.
That's actually a very serious gap. And I mean, you know, a lot of Korean male then refute us saying, oh, like, we go to the military. What does that mean to you? Like, we go to military and we spend our time protecting the country. It is very important. I don't mean to say that effort is meaningless. It is absolutely crucial to have country's security done. You know what I mean? Yeah. Without a country, there is no individual. I mean, not to say it sounds totalitarian. Yeah, but like, it's also a thing. It's important
to have that. Yeah,
especially for Korea, with North Korea kicking in as a factor. You know what's going on right now with Trump and nuclear attacks and whatever.
Yeah, everything is much more delicate right now, so it's important to have.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the effort that men are making to protect our country, but at the same time, yeah, this is worrisome. This is worrisome how women have more degree. You know, as you just mentioned, there are a lot more women who are very competent but not being used or not being able to work as a workforce in the society. And
it's interesting because to me, like when I hear arguments like that, it's sort of similar to how here we have people saying, oh, well, you know, women's rights. Well, men also, you know, men's rights, like we're not allowed to hit women, which... Don't hate anyone, but also things
that's a common, like, just logical fact.
Don't hit people. Just don't hit people. But also there's like, just because you're doing something for your country doesn't mean that what these women are working for is invaluable. It doesn't mean that they're not valued for the amount of contribution that they're having. And it's especially interesting from a foreign perspective because a lot of people just saw the headlines everywhere of like, oh, Korea has a female president now. They're so progressive. And there's a lot more factors involved.
There's a lot more factors. If we get to discuss it, we'll discuss it
later. You can just Google some more information about Park Geun-hye because she has some layers to get into. But the thing is that is not an accurate example of how progressive Korea is.
A lot more layers into her.
There's a lot of stuff to get to. We'll talk about that later. But it's interesting because especially like even out of 1,787 companies in the Korean stock market, 13 are headed by women.
13.
This is four of those 13 are like related to the family that owns the company.
That's ridiculous.
It's insane.
It's insane. I mean, not that I didn't know these numbers are present. It's once again, every time I hear these numbers, I get aggravated. I get angry. But yes, Korean women, they are, I mean, it's true that they just are not given enough opportunity to, you know, succeed. And that's another thing. And if you have a child, I mean, we have a lot of maternity leaves in the U.S., right? Yeah.
I mean, we still have far less, it would be better to have more maternity rights. There's still a lot of issues involved with that. But we do at least, like, you are allowed to have children and then go back to the workplace eventually. It's not just a career ender to have kids.
I mean, for Korea, I don't think it's legal to fire someone just based on, like, their pregnancy or, like, giving birth. But they actually circumvent a lot of these legal measures. I mean, it's social pressure, right? Social norm that you're going to have to look after a child after work, and you can't go to work parties. And work parties are where these deals between, you know, males usually happen. Yep. So they're excluded. Yeah, the drinking culture is another thing that we can get into another time. But because there are these back deals going on, or not to say back deals, but you have to be social.
Be friendlier with your boss. If you're more friendly with your boss versus someone else, like if a woman isn't able to go to these work parties afterwards because she has to go home and take care of a family, the people that can go to those parties are going to become closer with the bosses, with the higher ups, or just with their other coworkers, and they can get more support for anything that they need to do. And so that's inherently an issue.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, we see from the resolution that the drama gives, right? Mm-hmm. The resolution that this drama character, Kang Dan-hee, which is played by Lee Na-young, actually lies about her resume, right?
Yes, which was super upsetting for me watching it. I was like, I can't, why would it make sense to lie on your resume to get work? And then I realized that she was going for a lower position on purpose just to have a long-term steady 9-to-5 job, even if it's not at the level that she should be at.
And this character, as we see in the drama, is won a lot of prizes and actually have very famous copies that are written by her, but she chooses more of a stability rather than high pay, which was like a little worrisome in a way.
Yeah, definitely upsetting in many ways. And also at the end of the drama, what was interesting is that we noticed that even the upper level woman, what was her name?
Like Guisa?
I think it was Song Hye-rin's character. The other boss above her, the female boss, and how they mentioned that like she was busy working and she had fallen asleep at the desk, and the other boss came in and left a note for her that was like, "Oh, well, work isn't everything. You should go out and experience, fall in love or something."
Oh, Guisa. Yeah. She ends up like dating with this other guy
with the boss,
office,
which was
right?
We were also like, not everyone has to date, like it's okay, we can just be coworkers.
Yeah. But at the same time, she actually has more development in the middle that you might have just we
might have moved around.
But she was the opposite character of Kang Dan-hee, like who chose marriage over like her career, and this character is the drastic opposite of saying
chose career first.
Yeah, chose career first, and actually she has a fiance that she broke up with in like 10 years ago. Yes, yeah. So that's what it is. But the thing
is that it's implying a lot of this character is less valuable because she chose work over love.
Yes.
Which is kind of, as a person who also focuses on my career, I focus on my work stuff. It's difficult to watch and see, someone is being influenced to let go of their abilities and their accomplishments just to have a relationship.
I mean, I liked the drama. I liked Lee Jong-seok. First of all, I watched many things that he's in, but I had problem with this drama in that way, although it discusses a lot about like married women's status and the society, and tries to brush this social factor into this drama. I feel like because it's called Romance is a Bonus Book, it has to ultimately deal with romance, but this male main character is a little bit problematic as well.
No, the whole first episode we were like, what are you doing? Like when she came out and she was like, okay, I've been divorced and I'm homeless. And he was like, what? No way. And just didn't believe her. And he was, okay, I'm going to take you to your husband's house. And it's like, she's been divorced for a year and you are so close and you've been in love with her this whole time. And you didn't check in on her for a year and find out that she's living in her, her condemned home.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. And
it's not romantic.
And it's not romantic at all, to be honest. But it's also very problematic that she had to rely on another male character. I mean, not completely reliant, but still to have this romance factor in play, they actually made her rely on him a lot. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, it also shows that like a woman can't survive in Korean society alone. That's also true. Yeah, I think that says something as well.
Which now that I think about it, I just realized that she didn't have any other female friends. They didn't have that wasn't part of the drama at all. It was
actually she becomes a friend with the coworker.
I mean, with the coworker, like after she gets the job. But I mean, before, even if, which you would think, I mean, in America we think more of, okay, if it's a mom who has a child, even if she's not super friendly or anything, she can still talk to like other parents at the school or at other, activities and things like that. There's other ways to connect with other women. But in this drama, there was just nothing. And her child's gone, and now she's homeless. And
the
she's
kid
walking around with
is
no
in
shoes.
Philippines or something, right?
Yeah, which was, she went to the Philippines because apparently she was bullied.
Yeah, school bullying is another thing.
But then they also had like an offhand line that said that Kang Dan-hee was also a bully, which I don't think they really get into later. And I was like, this sort of messes up the character. Let's leave that out. We don't need any of that.
And then
I'm not as sympathetic to her if she was a jerk before.
That was another problem. I mean, there's many layers to this, and we can't pretty much give it off as much as I can. But at the same time, it's progressive, but backward at the same time.
That's the problem. Yeah. And it also was interesting to me, the age gaps between them, because you don't see that a lot in dramas of the older woman and the younger man. Usually it's the other way around because everyone wants to go like, oh, oppa, all of that.
And I'm thinking right now first of all, she's divorced, so they had to make her older. Yeah. But at the same time, I think the current trend of drama, although we see a big age gap between like male and female. Oh god, yeah. But at the same, like Mr. Sunshine is the most current, example of that.
Also available on
Netflix. Goblin, that's another thing.
Yeah, there's some other layers to get into with Goblin.
Yes, let's talk about Goblin sometime else. I actually love that drama, but at the same time, I do hold a lot of conflicted feelings toward it. But at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that because the divorce rate in Korea is like been climbing for years, and also because a lot of males are not getting married young. Yeah. And they're
busy trying to work.
And there is this the gender ratio. We need to touch the gender ratio aspect too. That like gender ratio in Korea is very skewed. Very skewed. I mean, there's plenty male over female. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, when I was in elementary in Korea, like it was like 7 girls to 16 boys.
Oh my god.
It was a lot.
That's a big jump. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, like they were about double us. And then I thought, when I was young, I thought that was natural. Like this is how it happens all the time. But eventually I realized that's not natural. And because there are so many males, they don't get to marry young. Yeah. Does that make sense? And I think drama culture, like trend-wise, like we had Secret Affair, Something in the Rain. Also both are available on Netflix, by the way. Yeah. They had this Nuna romance, right? Yeah. And I think dramas are trying to portray that it's okay to marry older women.
Which is, that's good. But at least what's interesting is like when you mentioned the ratio, it's interesting in just like societal situations. There have been studies where they'll try to study a man talking versus a woman talking. They go, okay, if the man talks for 5 minutes versus the woman talks for 5 minutes, they say the same stuff. If people listen to it, they think that the woman is saying more than she is because she's given more time. Or she's given the same amount of time, but because she's given the same amount as the other person, it makes people think, oh, she got more. Which is crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting, this gender dynamic of, the speaking and how credibility also matters in terms of like gender dynamic. And it's Korea, like, not to defend Korea, and I am very much of a feminist to begin with. I don't know if I will get in trouble by saying this, but
Both feminists,
yes. But
just to let you know what you're getting into, that's here.
Yeah, that's here. Also, it's that we could track this down back to Joseon Dynasty.
Oh, really?
Like this issue of Confucianism, letting men dominate over women. I think that's also what we see in the current society. I'm not saying that Korean women were not powerful in the older days. Like during Three Kingdoms period, like Shilla, Shilla had like queens.
Yeah.
Yes. Like because it's because of the blood lineage, not because she's the most favorable, but
they were queens. They were queens that ran an empire,
and in Goryeo dynasty they got to divorce like freely compared to the Joseon dynasty. And Joseon, we get this lot of Confucianism in our culture that lets male dominate over female, and this preference toward a male child kind of develops. And I think right now, because we came out of Joseon, right? The modern, if you saw Mr. Sunshine, you know what I mean. But the modern culture, I think, is rooted from Joseon than other dynasties that were far back, which is understandable. But at the same time, this gotta change.
Yeah, definitely. There has to be some marked difference of some kind. Something has to be addressed. There are some issues of the Ministry of Gender and Family are trying to work on getting more women in the workforce and trying to work on maternity leave and things of that sort, which is definitely a good step in the right direction. But I think a lot of it is going to be based on, I think representation is going to help a lot, it's helped a lot here in America, and I hope that it will be more helpful in Korea, of having more in media, seeing more older people and seeing more, dramas like this of older women still coming back and doing well in the workforce. I think that will help a lot with the general psyche of everyone thinking about it.
Yeah, I think representation is very important. And one more thing to mention about like confusion, I'm not blaming it totally on the culture, but at the same time, it requires women to go back and cook, and men are not supposed to be in the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. I think, I don't know. I'm from the countryside. I'm not from Seoul, but I heard this notion of, your genitals gonna fall off if you walk into a kitchen.
What?
Yeah, they will actually tell you, like, I can't say the genital word, but, 고추 떨어진다, 이런 말을 하죠. Like, we talk about, if you pass that threshold,
you're not a man anymore.
You're like a castrated man. So this is why, like, the cooking thing is just, like, making women hard to have work parties. I'm not saying the work party culture is really healthy, but at the same time, it's also that aspect of the culture that you need to know how to cook as a female. We still have home cooking classes. I mean, not that it's not required for males. We call it 기술과정. I was very surprised. I was translating this new transcript from fresh from Korea into English, and I was like, do you guys still have 기술과정? And they're like, oh yeah. And I was just like, wow, this is a cooking class, home economics class.
Yeah, we don't even have those anymore, which is a problem, and that's why everyone in America lives off of like ramen and mac and cheese, because we don't know how to make anything else.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, have you seen a lot of like recent shows with like cooking in it?
I haven't seen a lot of them. I know there is that variety show. I think there's either I Live Alone, and then there's one like What's in My Refrigerator or something like that, which is about, they have a lot of celebrities that will come in that live alone, that will talk about, oh, these are the things that I have in my fridge. These are, the things that I eat normally and stuff like that. And I think that might be helping a little bit with some of that notion, especially as people are able to, who aren't living in their family home. If the new generation is doing a lot more living by themselves or living with roommates, that might ease off some of that tradition a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, and also I wanted to mention that these cooking shows are having a lot of male chefs and male stars, and like they're trying to learn how to cook, because after all, the marriage rate is going down, and I think it has a lot to do with like what's the appealing mate, so to say, for of a male to learn how to cook is becoming more appealing for to get married compared to our older generation, who literally said you can't pass the threshold of kitchen as a male.
Yeah. I think it's definitely interesting, especially when you compare the way that younger women are no longer wanting to get married in the first place, because they're seeing these issues of these older women not being able to come back and being stuck without anything, so they don't want to get involved in that. And so they'd rather just focus on their own accomplishments, which I relate to. But, it's just one of those situations that's really interesting to see how women in the workforce are being treated and how it's affecting everything else in society.
It really has to be addressed because eventually we'll have a problem.
Oh, yeah. It's getting there. We're getting to the point.
There. We're getting to the point, and it's time,
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah. And do you have any suggestions or, you just mentioned portrayal, but...
Yeah, I think representation will help a lot in the general psyche. Hopefully having more variety shows and TV shows and people being celebrated for knowing how to take care of themselves in the home and things of that sort. If you're a grown man, you should be able to cook your own meal. That's what, you should be able to feed yourself.
Certainly.
Hopefully that will grow as a general expectation in Korea, and that will help a lot.
And actually, I'm not saying a fast change or a quick change.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no quick change toward these, but I think I'm slowly seeing with the feminist vibe kicking in, and with current situation with the media having this gender conflict, I think it will. Yeah, I see a lot of positivity.
Definitely.
And I'm willing to see more dramas with married women as a career women and not divorced women.
Ready to see women taking over. As part of our culture episode each week, we're going to be relating our topic to some well-known pop music, so you can kind of get involved a little bit more. So for this week, if you've heard of Itchy, Dala Dala, it's really popular right now. It's Twice's younger sister group.
Oh, really?
It's very exciting.
Wow, it has to be more educated about this.
Yes, exactly. So it's a really fun song about female empowerment. I feel good in myself, feel good in my skin. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to be what you expect me to be. So if you like that song and you want to feel that vibe even more, we'd suggest also the amazing, iconic artist Boa. Her amazing song Girls on Top. It was one of the first times in Korean media that someone came out and was like, I'm a woman and I'm proud of that.
Yes, I actually grew up with that music, and I think that's what made me who I am right now. Actually, I constantly listen to it when I have
Boa made feminists.
setbacks. The queen of idols, the ancestor of idols.
Oh,
all right,
I love her.
Yay! Thank you for listening to us, and we'll come back with very useful and fun cultural episode. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
안녕.